First of all, the university recognises outstanding individuals who have contributed to society and their professions. We do this through giving honorary awards. Today, we will recognise two of these individuals. First of all, we will start with Professor Ernesto Zedillo Ponce de León. Chancellor, it was unanimously resolved by the Senate and the Council of the University to confer an honorary degree of Doctor of Letters on Professor Ernesto Zedillo Ponce de León. Professor P.B. Anand will present the candidate.
Chancellor, Lord Mayor, Vice Chancellor, on a serious occasion, I thought I will lighten it up by reminding ourselves a simple question: what is the one thing we really know about Mexico? Yes, Mexican food is amazing, and we also know about wide-rimmed hats and the ubiquitous poncho, the pyramids and history, and so on. But we also know the Mexican wave that gets its name from the 1986 World Cup football matches. I'm not suggesting we do a Mexican wave right now, however tempting it might be, but maybe later if the Chancellor gives us the permission to do so. So Mexico is the connection to our honorary graduate. So I could introduce Dr. Ernesto Zedillo by mentioning that he graduated as an economist from one of the Mexico's elite polytechnics in 1972, or that he went to Yale University to get his master's and Ph.D. degrees, where his Ph.D. thesis indeed focused on the macroeconomic aspects of Mexico's public debt, a topic perhaps something even relevant today. I can try to impress you by mentioning that he is one of the elders, a global network of stateswomen and men, founded by none other than Nelson Mandela, and presently jointly chaired by Ellen Sirleaf Johnson and Mary Robinson. Or that he chaired the Global Development Network and also chaired the Commission on World Bank's governance reforms, or even more importantly, has been a commissioner of the International Commission for Nuclear Non-Proliferation and Disarmament. Well, if none of these impress you, I could try and sneak in the fact that since 2009, he has been the director of the Yale Center for the Study of Globalization. At this point, if our honorable guest, Mr. Zedillo, is wondering, Mr. Zedillo, sir, this is Yorkshire. As you know, the standards of expectations are a bit high. I've been here for 25 years. I'm still trying, this lot are difficult to please. Well, somewhere between all these busy assignments, I have information from reliable sources, which I have just confirmed, that Mr. Zedillo came to the University of Bradford on a 12-week program on cost-benefit analysis and education. So now I hope that wins the argument. And years later, in 1992, Dr. Zedillo became the Secretary of Education for Mexico and also held other positions in the economic governance of Mexico. But perhaps the most important developments took place in 1994, and in the December of that year, he became the President of Mexico. Governing a country is complex, and that is even more so for a country such as Mexico, one of the mega diverse countries. It was already 12th largest economy in 1960, but it was sliding, and this decline took it to 18th place by 1990. So on one hand, as the foundations of NAFTA were being laid in the early 1990s, there were both opportunities and challenges. There was also the formation of an armed guerrilla group, the Zapatistas, demanding independence of Chiapas region. It is easy for us to sit in the comfort of our chairs and make judgments, but we all know that armed rebellions and military interventions create complex landscapes. Dr. Zedillo has been credited with the cessation of military intervention in favor of a diplomatic peace process leading to the signing of San Andres Accords in 1996. that later paved the way for the rights of indigenous people to be recognized in many other subsequent accords. In some ways, these upheavals also impacted significantly on the economy of Mexico, resulting in the so-called peso crisis. But luckily, the expertise and deep understanding of an economist who was at the helm at that time, so helped the country, and President Zedillo was able to take the necessary steps to address the crisis and return the economy to growth within a short span of time. These lessons were later applied also in other financial crises, including the 1997 financial crisis and more recently 2008 global financial crisis. A commitment to reducing inequalities led to the creation of Progresa, one of the most significant cash transfer programs that rewarded poor families if the children attended school. Subsequently, this has been developed and rolled into various other social cash transfer programs across the world. In the early 2000s, I was working on the financing of global public goods, and that is when I came across the important work under the leadership of Zedillo for the Finance for Development conferences. These ideas remain relevant today as we aim to develop international cooperation for tackling the climate crisis, which cannot be solved unilaterally by any country. In 2019, at the F20 High-Level Forum, Dr. Zedillo said, I quote, "A single country cannot dictate the right decisions to be made when it comes to tackling climate change. This is precisely why they must be based on international agreements such as the Paris Agreement, and why we must all stand up and face climate change together," end quote. A deep understanding of economic governance, a commitment to using dialogue rather than arms to establish peace, a recognition of the importance of education, a willingness to tackle structural inequalities, including through direct state interventions where necessary, a commitment to forging international cooperation to tackle global challenges. All of these things resonate very closely to our heart here at the University of Bradford, and it is in recognition of the contribution that Dr. Zedillo has made in these areas, I present to you Chancellor Dr. Ernesto Zedillo for an honorary doctorate of the university.
Congratulations. By the authority vested in me, I admit you to the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay. Do you have a picture? Okay, thank you.
Honorable Lord Mayor, Madam Chancellor, Madam Vice Chancellor, dear graduates and families, dear faculty members and officers of this university, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply pleased to be back at the University of Bradford after 50 years. I cannot believe it's been that long. Being here again has been a long-standing wish for a very important personal reason: to express my deepest gratitude to this institution. The University of Bradford, in only 12 weeks, but wonderful weeks, gave me the opportunity to study a subject I like, project evaluation and planning, while making me proficient enough to pass the U.S. English test for foreign students, steps that helped me to advance into graduate school, where I earned my Ph.D. Furthermore, this university made it possible for me to be in the city of Bradford, and very importantly, to meet wonderful people from Yorkshire and actually all over the world. I omit to mention, Madam Chancellor, the number of beers to which I was introduced at a place which, if I remember well, was called called the Red Lion. I'd like to say that my formation as a Mexican citizen of the world, as I see myself, started at the University of Bradford in the summer of 1973. My gratitude to this beloved university is even bigger today and forever, as I am conferred an honorary degree. I feel proud and immensely grateful for receiving it. It was suggested that I could use these remarks to provide advice to you, the fortunate graduates, on what comes next as you pursue your professional careers. I will not do it, because frankly, I don't feel qualified for such purpose. I suspect you already know a lot, and soon will know much more than me about the world in which you will be working hard to succeed. An elder who still enjoys Gutenberg's legacy by reading books and newspapers only on printed paper, who has never used and will never use social media, and who relies on AI applications only to check whether any of his students plagiarize a term paper, could not credibly tell you, young professionals, how to thrive in the complex and challenging environments in which you will soon be immersed. Yet, I am confident that your mentors insisted that acquiring the capacity to study by thinking both rigorously and critically is even more important than simply knowing the content of lectures and readings. By virtue of scientific progress, overly specific knowledge and even full professions conceivably can become obsolete and irrelevant. However, if you learn to think, and I insist, rigorously and critically, or in other words, if you have learned to learn, then you are empowered, not just to perceive change, but to adapt to it successfully as well. By thinking critically and keep your intellectual curiosity unabated, you will be able to discern what is no longer useful and be motivated to study and acquire new knowledge and skills. Furthermore, thinking rigorously will allow possibly many among you not only to adopt, but also to drive change itself. I am equally confident and hopeful, knowing of this university's progressive origins and traditions, that your time here has comprised another important kind of learning, the learning to serve. You are now endowed with the capacity to advance towards a successful career. This accomplishment, the product first and foremost of your own effort, and that those who have supported you all along, must be, of course, to the benefit of you, your family, and the organizations at which you will labor. But your education also comes with an opportunity and a responsibility to serve other causes that transcend your personal and professional circles. Our communities, our countries, and our world do have, on the one hand, an abundance of challenges, and on the other, an acute scarcity of people willing to undertake them. Contemporary excessive individualism conspires against the solution of problems which are intractable in the absence of collaboration and solidarity among human beings. If all individuals were educated to believe that as important as to serve ourselves is also to put our respective capacities in support of others, all of us would live in a better world. Humanity has now the knowledge and the resources to pursue and achieve prosperity, safety, and justice for all, not just for a few. A universal sense of care and willingness to serve would go a long way toward attaining such a better world. I trust that you will be active at this crucial endeavor because you are graduating from the University of Bradford, where you came certainly to learn how to learn, but also to learn how to serve. Congratulations.